Welcome to the Grit Reapers, the podcast for aspiring online entrepreneurs that cuts through all the crap in the online business world and dishes out the raw and real truth about what it really takes to have a successful online business. No sugarcoating, no get-rich-quick schemes, just honest advice with a healthy dose of humor and hope.
We're your hosts, Gail and Candice, two online entrepreneurs who've been there, done that, and lived to tell the tale. So if you're looking for straight talk, practical tips, and the occasional reality check to get your online business moving, you're in the right place. Let's get down to business.
So welcome back, everybody, all our Grit Reapers. Gail, welcome back from your trip.
Thank you very much. Very glad to be home.
Good. I'm so happy to see you again. Gaily, so guys, the kind of thing we wanted to talk about today is actually like a spin-off from an experience Gail just recently had in Australia from her launch. So we were chatting about it and we just thought, you know what, it's such a great thing just to speak about with our listeners. Let's just get into Gail. Tell everybody like this revelation that you had.
Okay, sure. So I think it's been kind of a combination of two things. So I went over to Australia with the purposes of a bit of a holiday, but also of doing a launch with Meg, my business partner over there. Now, she's in Australia, as I said, so the time zone is not great for our US market. So we had, had a lot of backwards and forwards. And just to give you some context, our last launch I did from South Africa, Meg did from Australia. And it meant that she ended up doing her lives at 11 p.m. her time. It was just too much, to be up. Sometimes she was getting to bed at 1 o'clock in the morning after uploading the replays, etc. And we knew that it wasn't going to be what we could do because her kids were on holiday. We weren't actually going to be at Meg's house for the launch. So, talk about like a launch, like just kind of off the scale because we weren't at home. We didn't have a studio. We had 3 kids to look after, all while we were going through this launch week. And so we decided to take a launch that we see spoken about, and one of the sort of most common launches, a 5-day challenge. And we decided to pre-record it, but not only pre-record it in 2 different parts, so her part and my part, drip it into the Facebook group, and then offer a live Q&A once a day based on the modules that we had dripped. And so we took a well-known, well-followed challenge type launch, and we adapted it to our circumstances. And you know what? It actually ended up being such an easy launch because we had done the pre-recordings, we had got everything ready before we left. And then it was literally just a matter of everything was scheduled to drop on at certain times. So all we had to do was go in and just make it live. And then we just showed up for the live Q&A. Most of the time, the live Q&A was just on the veranda of the holiday house that we were on with the kids running around in the background. We told everybody what was going to happen and nobody minded. It was just really easy. And it was a very different kind of launch. In our previous launch, we had a lot of engagement because it was live and I was talking to people and, teaching people and you were getting the interaction. This was different. We were getting the interaction in the group. We were getting interaction via emails, people saying, wow, guys, this has been amazing. And for those that could show up to the Q&A, and actually it was quite amazing because normally with the 5-day challenge, you will see the engagement decline. Whereas in this one, we saw the engagement increase. So we had more people on our last live Q&A than we had on the first one. So it was amazing to see the difference. So that got me thinking about, it was easy, it worked. we couldn't have launched it any other way, really, in that situation. Then we're getting to the stage in some of these big programs where people have now launched, and they're saying, I'm beginning to see things like, I followed the method you told us to a T and nobody signed up. Or I gave this webinar and I used the template, and this was actually me in my first launch as well. I used the template that we were given and told to, like, this is the only way to run a webinar. You have to follow this template. And I felt so uncomfortable doing it that way. And people are saying, like, it really didn't work for me. It didn't. And I feel like people are told that there's only one way to run a specific launch style. And it can often make you feel very uncomfortable. And when you're uncomfortable, you don't deliver your material well. You don't deliver your pitch well. People can see you uncomfortable, and I think it puts people off. So I wanted to chat about this, and I thought it would be a great podcast episode. But just to say that, like, it's your business, and you need to do what you feel comfortable doing. So that was just, yeah, the start of the conversation of this podcast, and then Cans and I were talking it through. So Cans, I know you've also got some thoughts on this. So yeah, over to you.
No, I was thinking to myself, I think with any new thing that you do in your life, like if you learning, you've got a new hobby or you're learning something for the first time, you almost like apply the theory like in its like absoluteness. You like don't
Yeah,
like if the book says this, that's how I'm going to
yeah,
do it.
do
And I
it.
actually think that's quite a normal thing
Mm-hmm.
humans that we
Yeah,
do. It's like you adopt it and you adopt it in its like purest form. And then it's only through doing that that you then start to feel like, you know what, I think I could actually do that a little bit better or a little bit differently, or that doesn't feel great. And you gain confidence to start tweaking it. So you like first adopt it in its pure form, you wear it a bit, you like find what's
tie
hurting,
it on.
feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah, like what does feel good, and then start adjusting. So I think well, I certainly relate to what you're saying, where it's like first webinar, first masterclass, first challenge, you take whoever you're learning from or the resources you have and you try and implement it in like this is the way,
Yeah.
right? Then you have an experience where, oh my God, that felt hideous. I hated every minute of it. It's so not me, or I would never say that, or I'm gonna like, well, hopefully what we want to think is I'm gonna try differently. But I think a lot of people don't actually. They then just try to do it again in its like purest form. And I think what you're saying really is you took a system or a method and yeah, so you didn't do it the way a typical 5-day challenge is supposed to be. So what? So
Yeah.
actually something
Yeah.
better, fantastic.
Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely. And I think, Cans, just on what you're saying there is that, like, the first time I did that webinar where I followed that template and it just felt so weird, like I then avoided ever doing it again. So what I would love to tell people is that, just because you've been told it should be done this way and it doesn't feel good to you, like, don't not do it. Tweak it and take it to a place where it feels more authentic, or it does feel like you. Take the overall system, as we're saying, and then tweak it and edit it to be something that you feel comfortable with. So don't, like, throw out the baby with the bathwater. I
yeah,
think that's the right thing.
yeah,
And say, oh, I'm never going to do that again. Like, but just tweak it so that
yeah,
it feels right for
a
you.
100%. I think also there's some reality to this anxiety people feel, which is like, I've just noticed there's like, and this is maybe actually just an entirely different podcast episode. But recently, like, I am just feeling so like caught between like the business owner who's trying to run like an ethical business and like advertise and promote themselves without doing the stuff that feels like inauthentic, you know? So I think sometimes when we're looking at people that have made it in the online world, and then their programs or templates or blah, blah, blah are promising systems, you know, this is the exact email sequence I have used, and I'm a six-figure business owner. You internalize, well, that must be the way,
Yeah.
you know. And so then you get it, and you have this anxiety about deviating in any way because we think, well, this is what worked, so it's gonna work for me, right? I feel that deeply because it's the most bizarre phenomenon that we like somehow forget, but it's like my business and like that's not how I am. I would never say that, or that's not my tone, or we forget that. It's like we really want to be successful. We really want to make this work. And then forget that we have agency. Like we are allowed to say, you know what, like 13 emails in like a span of 5 days feels excessive. I would fucking hate that. I'm not going to do that. I'm only going to do five. No, we think,
Yeah.
well, you said it's 13, so I am going to send. And then every time an email goes out, you are like, oh my God, I hope people don't.
Cringing. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I feel
Absolutely.
that deeply because I did that. Like, you literally felt traumatized every time I got your email has
Notification.
broadcast. You're like,
Yeah.
oh my God, you know. Um, and it's so funny because I was even sharing with you that even up until recently, I fell into this exact same trap where I was like, okay, when I first got going, I was on Instagram a lot. I was like, Reels had just come out. I was learning how to make them. I was really enjoying it. This was before I actually knew a thing about funnels, and it actually just felt free. It felt like I wasn't second guessing everything I did. I was actually having fun on Instagram. And my first group coaching program was teaching people all about Instagram. And then like I found that I'm just avoiding the platform. Like I'm on my personal profile a lot and my feed is hilarious. Like I love being on my personal profile because the algorithm clearly shows me like shit that I watch, which is like funny videos of lip syncs and like all just light-hearted shit. And then I switch over into my business profile and my anxiety goes like fucking through the roof. And I really don't enjoy it. And I caught myself thinking the other day, like, I love making this podcast. Give me an Instagram live. I will show up. I can talk. I hate writing carousels. It's like, not, like, I am a more like, let me just talk about what I know. It feels free and it flows. And then I was like, why am I on Instagram again? Okay, so maybe I just shouldn't have an like maybe I should just choose to focus on my podcast and maybe YouTube. And then I was like, oh, no, I can't do that. I have to have an Instagram profile. Um, why? Why do you have to? Why? Because everybody else has one. So I fell into that exact same, like, it's my business. Like, if I want to make content in a way that doesn't feel draining and cumbersome and like a chore and it's like this dreaded thing, why would I not choose platforms that make me feel that way as opposed to platforms that I dread? Just because
Yeah.
somewhere I've got in my head that like I have to have an Instagram. So what I'm trying to say is like it's okay to say fuck it to the rules. But they are
Yeah.
fucking rules. Like it's your
Yeah.
business. You got to find the stuff that works for
For
your
you.
personality style, for the stuff that like elevates you, that you feel enlivened with, as opposed to drained
Hmm.
and traumatized by, you know?
Absolutely. Because when you're enjoying it, you do it. When it's something that is just like, as you said, that feels heavy and just takes so much brain power, so much work, you're never going to do it. So, yes, you might say, okay, I'm going to have an Instagram account and I'm going to post times a week or 7 times a week or whatever. But then you don't do it because it's just too hard. So, definitely.
Yeah.
what you are saying is that you make the rules in your business. I think sometimes we forget that. And it's so weird. As you're saying, it's so weird. Why do we forget that? If it
Mm.
was an offline business, you would be making the rules. So like why
Yeah,
different for this business? And I also think that what I've seen recently and what I've heard a lot of the OG creators who have been successful, who've been really successful, is that online business is changing. You know, we went through the phase during COVID where everybody went online. That's where they were making their six-figure launches, their seven-figure launches. You know, I've spoken recently to so many people who were just like, it used to be so easy. In Australia now, we just met up with a whole lot of Kajabi OGs, and they were all reminiscing. Oh, remember 2022? It was it was so easy, and 2021 and 2020. And so online business is evolving. And maybe some of the programs that we bought into, well, I don't say maybe, but they haven't really evolved along with it, you know? So that's the other thing. Don't be scared if something was working and it's not working now. Don't be scared to do what you need to do to test and, just find out what is working now.
correct. Totally. I mean, there is something really interesting about the pursuit of the answer. You know, in one of our episodes, we actually spoke about like this phenomenon of like guru hopping and like because I think people are lost and close to broke sometimes. They're desperate, they're frustrated, they're scared, they're anxious. So we are convinced someone out there has the answer. And I mean, this is confirmed sometimes when people are promoting their businesses, telling you, I have the answer, you know.
Yeah.
I have
The
the formula or the steps,
magic
the
bullet.
exact
Yeah.
steps, you know. So our fears are then confirmed sometimes with good marketing or whatever. I don't know if it's good. I'm going to say with effective marketing. Um, and actually, it's like there isn't one way. There isn't one person. It's like these are concepts. I like to think like there are certain concepts you need to know about as an online business owner. There is a concept of a funnel, which we're going to be talking about in one of our upcoming episodes. Like, what the fuck is a funnel? And it's not like a thing, it's like a concept. There is this concept of scarcity and urgency, right? There is a concept of discounting. If you understand concepts rather than formulaic step-by-step methods, it's like you suddenly feel much freer to apply the concepts in ways that feel authentic and ethical. And
Yeah.
and I think what we must say is and that they work because really you need a profitable business. Like your passion alone just can't pay the bills, unfortunately. You know, we need money. We need money to be in business. So we want whatever you're doing to be working. So if it's not working, maybe it's time just to start thinking, maybe it's because I'm trying to apply this in this is the way, these are the number of emails, these are the steps, I have to offer 20% off because he offers 20%. Like, no, you don't. Take the
Yeah.
concept and apply it in a way that works for you, you know? So
Absolutely.
yeah, I'm still on the fence. I haven't done anything impulsive. I have not deleted my Instagram account yet, but I am seriously considering just like switching to what feels good and
And feels
and
right.
really checking
Absolutely.
myself that I don't buy into the like no, actually you can do whatever bloody works for you in your business.
Yeah.
Gail, yeah, one other thing that we were speaking about just before we pressed record is that just like we're saying there's no one way to do something, you know, there's no one person that's going to give you all the answers. In the same breath, we would really encourage you guys, if you're listening, watching, whatever, to also check yourself that you're not thinking your way of doing things is like set in stone, you know? So
Yeah.
like
Mm.
people often say, no, oh, I can't do that. I can't do that. I can't get on video, you know, or I
Yeah.
can't do this.
Mm.
You know, like they are very committed to the way they do things, which is kind of the same thing. It's like it's your way and nothing's gonna budge. And we really want to say that what we've learned through many bruises is this is a muddy playing field. You got to get in the mud and you've got to test, test, test. You've got to experiment. You've got to be open-minded. You've
Right.
got to try things,
Yeah.
you know? And then only once you've really given it a go to say that felt good, that didn't feel good, or you know what, it's a bit uncomfortable, but maybe I'll keep trying. Like you can't be so like, this is the way.
Yeah.
No,
Open-minded.
well, you can,
Absolutely.
but it's going to be
And
hard.
and just on that as well, I think that as you go through the online journey, things that seemed impossible at the beginning of the online journey. So Candace has been talking to me about a podcast already back in January when we were on safari together. And I was just like, Candace, I'd love to, but I can't. I just can't. At that stage, I had no capacity. And the better you get at things, the more capacity you get, the more systems you put in place in your business, the more streamlined things are, the more it frees up your time, the more capacity you have. So never cross ideas off and just say, I'm never going to try that, because you will find that as you go through, you do have more capacity. And, there may be some ideas that you've crossed off that end up being like a breakthrough for your business, or like, a booster, you get to the next income level or whatever. So your business is going to evolve, you're going to evolve, you're going to get better at things. So yeah, definitely don't like cross things off and say that's it, I'm never doing it. Never say never, but also do things that you're comfortable with and that you enjoy. And yeah.
Oh, that is a nice little tale there. Okay. Okay, so two things we want to end off with. Number one is this is it's like a newish podcast. So we're so happy if you are here and listening. Thank you or watching. And truly, Gail and I, we want to make content for our listeners. So if there is anything you are curious or wanting to learn more about, we connected to like some incredible people. We'll host guests, we'll really listen to what it is that where are you getting stuck up, where are you like finding challenge. So please let us know. You can email us at team@thegritreapers.com. You can get hold of Gail and I like on socials, on all the info's on our website. But we are inviting your participation in this podcast
Mm.
because without listeners there is no podcast. So it's
Yep, exactly.
right. The other thing is we feel like it's through the learning and the doing that you slam up against some of these very hard reality checks. Like, oh, so you're telling me I don't have to listen to what, yes, that's what we're telling you. It's like a bit of a reality check. You're in charge of your business. But we've actually also put together what we think are like the top 10 reality checks all online business owners should know. And we have a resource. It's like a cute little thing you can read. You can even download your own if you want. And a link will pop up right now, or you'll find it in the show notes or the description, and you can go ahead and grab it if you'd like. So yeah, we are definitely on the cards. I think very soon going to be talking all about funnels. Are they
Yep.
necessary? Do they fucking work? And so we hope you tune in. But thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you guys soon.
See you next week. Bye, everybody.